Hello, welcome to Acharya Nidana Academy. In this particular video, we are going to discuss one of the main important terminology which is being used in the diagnostics, that is the pathophysiology. What actually this particular pathophysiology refers to? It contains three words: pathos, physiology, pathos, physios, and logos. When you think about all these three terms, that is totally comprising of pathophysiology. What actually so this particular term refers to? The term pathos refers to the disturbances or the abnormality. Physios refers to functions, and logos refers to study. If you add these together, the study of abnormal functioning occurring in the body is termed as pathophysiology. So this particular pathophysiology may be occurring either in the atomic level, that may occur in organelle level, that may occur in cellular level, that may occur in tissue level, that may occur in organ system level. Later, that may have an impact on abnormal functioning of the human body. So when you think about all these, we have to study these informations in a systematic manner. So let us say here is a small system, so that we can say it is having the 5 different organs. So they are having two ends, point A and point B, and the movement of the any of the movement is happening from point A to point B in the particular said system. Suppose if there is any etiological factor, they are being coming into contact with point A, so that may have a disturbance in the organ number 1, that may have a disturbance in organ number 2, that may have a disturbance in organ number 3, that may have a disturbance in organ number 4, that may have a disturbance in organ number 5. Depending upon the movement from point A to point B, depending upon the speed of the movement from point A to point B, depending upon the number of the pathogens entering into the point A and point B, depending upon the virulence of the pathogens which are entering into point A to point B, the disturbances can be observed in 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And initially, we are going to observe the specific dysfunctions in organ A, organ 1, which is nearer to point A. Whereas the point 5 or the organ number 5, that will be affected much later, as the etiological factor is being exposed at point A only, not at the point B. Suppose if the exposure is happening at the point B, then we are going to get the dysfunction at the point 5, organ number 5 only. But organ number 1 may be least afflicted. Why? Because the movement is considered to be from point A to point B. So in this way, we have to analyze the actual mechanism that is happening inside the human body. Now, let us know about the human body. So when you think about the human body, it is consisting of multiple systems. Gastrointestinal tract, it's a system which is mainly associated with digestion. Respiratory tract or respiratory system, which is mainly involved with the respiration. Circulatory system is mainly involved in circulation of the blood and other nutrients, etc. Nervous system, which is responsible for the transport of the nerve impulses from one point of the body to the other. Urinary system, the excretion of the urea, uric acid, and water, etc., from the kidneys to the exterior. So, like that, each and every body, each and every organ systems are functioning coherently to maintain the health of the human body. But the any kind of the dysfunction is happening in one system that may have an impact on the other system sooner or later. Suppose if the person is not taking care of, then there may be a possibility of a affliction of the whole of the system sooner or later. That is why we have to be very careful while giving the uh, what do you say that the attention towards the main system afflicted. Now, regarding the organ dysfunction, how we can know about the organ dysfunction? So here we are going to examine with the two examples. One that is esophagus, second one that is the heart. Suppose if this particular image is considered to be a esophagus, this is the upper end of the esophagus which is having a connection with the pharynx. This is considered to be the lower end of the esophagus which is having a connection with the stomach. This is having the upper esophageal sphincter and this is having lower esophageal sphincter, and this is both of these inner lining are having the mucus cells, and deeper to the mucus cells it will be having musculature, both longitudinal as well as circular musculature. When you think about the functions of the esophagus, only one function that is considered to be transport of the food from the pharynx to the stomach, which is happening within seconds, which is the main function. But the other associated functions or supported functions are that is function of the upper esophageal sphincter. When you say about the function of upper esophageal sphincter, it prevents the movement of the air during what do you say that the respiration. That is one major function. And when you think about the lower esophageal sphincter, it is preventing the movement of the food which is present in the stomach into the esophagus. So that is which is little bit harmful to the esophageal mucosa as it is containing hydrochloric acid. So further, when you think about the mucosa that is present on the inner lining of the esophagus, which is actually responsible for the protection of the esophagus from the heat, from the hot food substances which a person is consuming, or otherwise the acidic substances sometimes a person is consuming that is actually responsible for the what do you say that the uh, damage to the esophageal mucosa, thereby the person may have esophageal ulcer, etc. That is going to get prevented. Whereas the esophageal muscles, they are actually responsible for the initiation of peristaltic movement in the esophagus. This is what we can say about the in terms of esophagus as such. That means one major function is transport of the food, but other functions are actually supporting the protection of the organ that is esophagus. Now let us look into the other aspect, that is heart. When you think about heart, it is a four-chambered one. Right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle, and which is having the connection at the right atrium is having a connection at the superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. That is superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. Whereas the left atrium has the connection with the, the pulmonary veins, whereas right ventricle is having a connection with the pulmonary trunk, whereas left atrium has the connection with the aorta. When you think about the movement of the blood, so that is from the inferior vena cava and superior vena cava, the blood will be entering into the right atrium. From there, it will be entering into the right ventricle. From there, the deoxygenated blood will be moving into the pulmonary capillaries. From there, there will be the oxygenation of the blood will be taking place. After oxygenation, the oxygenated blood will be coming into the left atrium via pulmonary veins. From there, it will be entering into the left ventricle. From there, it will be moving into the aorta. From there, different parts of the body. This is actually the normal physiology. When you think about the part of the organ itself, when you think about left ventricle, let us take left ventricle as a part of the uh, learning today. When you think about left ventricle, so that is having a function of receiving the blood from left atrium, and that will be pumping the blood from left atrium to the aorta. When you think about the dysfunction, suppose if the left ventricle is being dysfunctioning, that can be possible if the blood from the left atrium is not completely emptied into the left ventricle. That may be due to narrow mitral valve. That is one reason. Or otherwise, there may be incomplete movement or the incomplete, that the return of the blood from the pulmonary veins into the left atrium. That may also be a possibility there. Whereas the other way, wherein the blood left ventricle is not in a position to pump the blood from the left ventricle to the aorta. So maybe in cases of left ventricular hypertrophy, or maybe the person is suffering from the hyperthyroidism, or maybe the person may be suffering from the myocardial infarction, chronic or old myocardial infarction. So in all these cases, the complete emptying of the blood from the left ventricle to the aorta may be deficient. Or the third major possibility may be there may be a possibility of a narrow aortic valve, or otherwise there may be a possibility of the uh, atherosclerosis at the aorta. Because of all these reasons, the left ventricle may not be functioning in the optimum level. So this can be even applied to left atrium, right ventricle and right atrium too. So this is how we can able to learn the organ dysfunction. To sum up, pathophysiology is comprising of three words: pathos, physios and logos. Means abnormal, that is pathos. Physios means the function, logos means the study. In other words, the study of abnormal functioning of the human body is termed as pathophysiology. The each and every organ will have a distinct function to each of the nidana depending upon the exposure to the etiological factor. This is we are going to learn in the coming days, and sooner or later one other system or nearby system, or all the systems that may be afflicted depending upon the physical strength of the individual. Dear friends, that's all for today. What are the major key takeaways from today's session? Mention in the comment box. And what would be the one particular topic that would you like to learn in the coming sessions? Mention in the comment box. And if you are liking this particular video, put a thumbs up and spread this particular video to the maximum number of true Ayurveda learners, so that we can make a huge movement out of this particular small message. That's all for today. Thank you.